Day one of the Reptile Super Show in Pomona. I'm very excited. I have been looking forward to this for a long time. So we're gonna bop around for the next 2 days and see what we can find. I have a whole scavenger hunt that I'm gonna play out across the next 2 days. Some of the things I wanna see are things that I put on the list, and other things come from my patrons and Discord. So yeah, I'm excited. Let's go see some reptiles. Wow, that is beautiful. I've always been a big fan of gray-banded king snakes, and these were exceptional. This one looked like it had a flame on its neck. Well, Cydia, right out the gate, found some rosy boas. Depending on the time of year, you'll either see none available at shows or, like today, tons. With their breeding season being in the spring, it means that wintertime is the prime time to pick up a baby rosy from the recent litters. I don't think I've ever seen this many at a show though. Rosy boas are an amazing species with so many natural color variations dependent on their locality. They're a great pet snake because they don't get as big as most other boas do, usually staying under 4 feet in length. But this one was a monster. Huge. I think I found another thing on my list. A fully built out, beautiful, naturalistic, bioactive enclosure. And it looks really great. And that is a beautiful animal. I love blue tree monitors. Hi, buddy. This booth specialized in creating fully built out bioactive enclosures for you based on your animal and its natural habitat. Can definitely check it off the list. I had a lot on this list to find, but there was one thing in particular I was eager to get checked off as soon as possible. And it actually didn't take me long to do it. Hi, Bob.
Hi, Shira.
I was hoping you could help me with something.
Yeah.
Could you check this and help me read this out loud?
This is very similar to what I'm doing at this thing.
But I think you can help me with this one in particular.
Find Bob and apologize for stealing his scavenger hunt idea.
Can I cross that one off now?
Well, you found me.
I'm sorry for stealing your scavenger hunt idea.
Now you can cross it off.
Yes.
It's great. It's great. Good to see you, Shira.
You too.
Yeah. Have fun.
I will, you too. That is a strange animal. The Reptile Factory is a locally owned reptile supply store with 4 locations in Southern California. One of them right in my neighborhood, and I absolutely love them. I've been to several of their locations, and every single person I've interacted with has been super friendly, knowledgeable, and helpful. I always feel like they treat me like a friend when I go there or see them at a show, and I personally really value that. They also made an announcement this past week that they would offer free reptile boarding to anyone who had been impacted by the catastrophic wildfires that are raging right now in LA. It didn't shock me due to how great the people are, but it definitely moved me and made me want to support them more. Reptile Island also offered support to the Southern California community by donating part of their sales to relief efforts. Found an Asian water monitor. I don't know if I'd ever seen one before, so I could have crossed two things off at once, but I decided that since I normally focus on snakes, I'd keep looking for other lizards I'd never seen, and I'm really glad I did. I ended up seeing so many that I might have otherwise walked past and came to appreciate them a lot more. Okay, there's another one I haven't seen in person before. Look at the cool shading on this lizard. Wow. Yeah, I really like these keeled lizards. Haha, something on my list. Found it. There you go, Liz. Oh my God, they're so little. I may not really want to keep lizards as pets, but I think they're absolutely incredible animals, and the variation is truly mind-blowing. I swear this was the only children's python at the show, and I looked hard. Hi, Logan.
Hi.
You came a long way.
Yes, but very, very much needed. Right now it's like single digits and snowing at home, so.
Oh, and it's snowing ash here, so you know.
Yeah, but it's still like in the 60s.
That's
it's like
true.
summer.
That's true. And you are working with Exoterra.
Exoterra, yep.
Well, I was wondering if you could help me with something.
Ooh,
I
yeah.
want to scratch something off my list, and I think that you might be able to do that.
That beer, I'm honored. That's what I am. Wow. And I just cross it out.
Go for it.
Oh, I feel so special.
It's really nice to see you.
Steve, I'm on a bingo card. I made it. I'm on a bingo card. I'm gonna show this to my mom. Be like, look, Mom, I've made it.
It's always a pleasure to see Logan. After interviewing him last year at the show and hanging out at Animal Con, I not only consider him a friend, but I truly appreciate his knowledge and how much he gives to his animals. Speaking of which, I realized that he might be able to help me out more on my scavenger hunt since he's rather an expert on Orthriophis, and I was trying to find a Chinese beauty snake. Taiwanese, Chinese, beauty snakes.
Let's talk about beauty snakes real
Yeah.
quick. So they're all Orthriophis tenareus, which is the beauty snake complex. But there's, I want to say 21, but I could be wrong. But like
Okay.
a bunch of different subspecies.
Okay.
So the Chinese beauties are Orthriophis tenareus, and they're kind of the true, beauty snake.
Okay.
And then the Taiwanese is Orthriophis tenareus frasei or something like that, and then the blue beauties is
Right.
Tenareus caliscionis, and so it's a really understudied group of snakes as well.
Okay.
So for instance, Chinese beauty snakes only get 4 to 5 feet,
Oh.
but a blue beauty can get 14 feet.
Right.
And yet they're the same species. but they all have very similar-ish behavior, similar-ish patterning and stuff. Like when you look at them all side by side, you'd be like, all right, I can see that you guys are all related, but there's still like a lot of differences between each one.
Okay, all right. So I still haven't found the Chinese. I found Taiwanese. I found another beauty snake, but it wasn't Chinese.
There's Ridley Eye over here, the cave dwelling, which is another Orthriophis tenareus. They're the ones that hang from stalagmites and catch bats.
Oh, cool.
Yup, really cool.
Very cool.
Might be a Chinese beauty over there.
Okay, I'll check. It's always fun to see Apex Reptile at shows because, I mean, they're my favorite enclosure company and I love the product, but I also love the people who make it. We've got printed backgrounds for Apex now. And a new and improved design for the doors. Much wider, larger viewing area and options. Say hello. Guys, I made it to the end of the first row. I'm exhausted already. Okay, butterfly iguanas. I've definitely never seen a butterfly iguana before. Those are so neat. I always have to stop by and say hi to my friend Chad at Golden Coast Exotics when I'm at a reptile show. 4 of my snakes come from him. It was so crazy to see his baby Dominican red mountain boa and think that Helios was this small at one time. He also had a baby eastern indigo, whose sire was a snake I had in my care for a short time. It was kind of like seeing a grandbaby. His boothmate had a Jamaican boa, which are absolutely stunning and very rare snakes to see. Very cool. Where are they from again?
Central America and Costa Rica.
Okay, and there, you said how many?
Yes.
Only 20 in the United States, wow. I knew I could find a snake even more expensive than this though, and sure enough, I found several when I visited the African house snakes at Bushveld Reptiles, which turned out to be Garrett from Reach Out Reptiles in disguise. The mustache almost threw me. He's well known for his reticulated pythons, but has been breeding African house snakes for a while. I find it interesting that he specializes in both the largest as well as one of the smallest species of snakes kept in captivity. House snakes are not very common, so I was stoked to get to hold one for the first time. And then I saw the price tags. One thing I was really looking forward to was meeting Stephen Cush, a small-scale breeder of scrub pythons. I'd watched some of his content recently and really appreciated his approach and care for his animals, and also, I've been enamored with this species for a while now, so I was crossing my fingers he'd let me handle one. I was not disappointed on any count here. These incredible animals have a widely held reputation for being defensive or quote-unquote mean, and yet his animals were calm and well socialized on top of being absolutely stunning. This one was an absolute dream, and I was blown away by how gentle and sweet he was. We hung out for quite a while and proved once again that generalizations about temperament are a reflection on the humans as opposed to the animals. Given the right care, attention, and respect, they are as docile as any ball python is. It was very hard for me to give this animal back. Stephen is a wonderful person whom I interviewed the second day of the show along with his partner Brooke, and we talked a lot about what a privilege it is to be able to work with these animals. Don't miss out on that episode because they both had beautiful things to say about that and about the joyful and therapeutic aspects of loving and keeping reptiles. Roy Arthur Blodgett of Wellspring Herpetoculture is the co-host of the Project Herpetoculture podcast and has become a dear friend. So checking this off my list was something I'd been looking forward to for a while. I have massive respect and admiration for him as a human as much as for his knowledge and ethics about keeping reptiles. His Amazon puffing snake, Handsome Boy, is literally one of a kind and captured the fascination of everyone who walked past, and has a very special backstory as well. So if you want to hear more about that and Roy's unique and therapeutic journey with him and herpetoculture, make sure you check out the interview I did with him that I released separately. They traveled from Northern California, so it was a rare treat for me to see them and was definitely a highlight of my weekend. To be honest, there were quite a few snakes I'd never seen in person before at this show, so it's hard to call out that just one, but a Chinese king rat snake was one I didn't know existed. So I think I can check that spot off my list with this one. All right, guys, day 2, and let's see what we have left to find on the scavenger hunt. We have handmade or unique enclosure accessories, the best wild type ball python, which I literally only found one regular normal ball python yesterday, so that might end up being the best because it's the only one. Eastern Sanzinia, a file snake, didn't see that. White-lipped python. I have a tip on where I might find one, so I'm gonna follow that up. Bismarck ringed python, definitely didn't see that yesterday. Giant reptile hide, bigger than 13 inches. I did kind of see that, but what I was really hoping for was more of like a really giant hide that could hold like a reticulated python. So more than 13 inches, it should be more like 2 feet, but I probably won't find that. A child in a wagon with an iPad or tablet. Now I saw lots of kids in wagons, but none of them was holding a tablet at the time. So we'll see about that. Sonoran desert boa. Derpiest snake face. I don't know. That's a really hard one. Thanks to my husband John for that one. But more importantly, I also want to talk to people more and get a little bit more footage of people talking about why they love these animals so much, what brings them joy about it. So that's one thing I'm definitely looking forward to discovering today. All right, let's get to it. As many ball or royal pythons as there were at this show, wild types, or what's labeled as quote-unquote normal, were hard to find because everybody wants these extra cool genetic morphs these days. So to be honest, this one actually made me sad. When I asked at a few booths if they had any, they looked at me like I was nuts or said nobody wants those. There are simply too many of this species being bred right now to find them all good homes, and the games we're playing with their genetics just to see what crazy colors or patterns we can produce not only means we're producing too many of them to get just what we want, but those games often lead to serious health problems. There are over 40,000 ball pythons for sale on Morph Market alone. And it makes you wonder what happens to all the animals that no one ends up taking home from this show. For a species that can live up to 60 years if cared for correctly, the rate at which we're producing these animals is drastically disproportionate to the people who will give them the lives they deserve in captivity. I know I'm not alone in these feelings, so we'll talk about this more in another episode. Suffice it to say, out of the hundreds, if not thousands of Python Regius that I saw, I recognized about a handful that could be called wild types, and only 3 that were labeled as normal. Saying which one was the best of these 3, that also kind of made me sad. It's so subjective, so I'm just gonna check that one off because they're all beautiful, just as they are. Moving on to something I was excited about, I've always loved Wilma pythons with their adorable little burglar masks over their eyes and their beautiful coloration and pattern. This is yet another species that has a reputation for being spicy and bitey. In fact, a breeder even talked me out of getting one when I was looking. But as with scrub pythons and any other species, these are individual animals that respond to what we give them or what we don't. And although I was considering getting one a few years ago, I've yet to actually hold one. You're making my day.
Also, Wilma was on my scavenger hunt to find today, but I didn't even think I'd get to hold one, so this is so cool.
Well, if you would like to take him home, I can give you a deal. I would like it to go to somebody who is not 15. What? I'm like an ignorant.
I don't believe that they're inherently mean, no matter that people still insisted they were while I was holding this sweet little guy. I did appreciate the vendor at Pandas Fauna for his interest in snake therapy and his agreement that they're not always what people say they are. Well, this is something I've never seen in person before, an elephant trunk snake.
Their tongue is very impressive.
Oh yeah?
Yes, it's so obviously snakes' tongues are forked. But,
Yes.
Each fork is super long.
Really?
It's very, very long.
Interesting. I'd love to see that. Wow. Now this snake does not like to be out of water, I imagine.
Not for very long, no.
Hey, buddy. I don't want to torture you. Wow, the scales are really interesting. Can I touch?
Oh yeah, it feels different than any other snake I've held.
Whoa. Look at that, it's just limp. Hey, buddy. You can put him back.
Okay.
Wow. What part of the world are they from?
South America.
Okay. Whoa, I saw it. Oh, do it again. Come on, buddy.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Hi, look at that tongue. I don't know. I think this guy has maybe has a spot for the derpiest snake face.
Oh my God, yes. Yes, absolutely.
I have a scavenger hunt going, and that was, I think actually this one wins. Guys, this is the derpiest snake face. All animals are amazing, guys, but these are not ones that I'd want to hang out with personally. Oh my God. Oh, score, rufous beaked snake. I've never seen one of these in person before. They are so cool. And I shouldn't have asked to see her because, yep, I fell head over heels. Just look at those eyes and that adorable snoot. She was an absolute dream. I went back a couple of times to spend time with her, and she wasn't just beautiful, but I felt a deep connection with her. Walking away was hard, but I didn't want to bring her home without being prepared for her and needed to do some research first.
She's trying to nuzzle you.
Have to be honest, if she's still available in a month or two, once some of my upgrades are done, she might have to be mine. I just fell in love with that rufous beak snake. I might get one. Oh my God. So beautiful, so cute. The cutest face. Oh my God. But I'm not taking anything home today, so. This was most certainly a snake I'd never seen before, and for good reason. It's a hybrid. Half king snake, 25% corn snake, and 25% Pueblan milk snake. I'm not really sure how I feel about that. Let me know in the comments what you guys think about breeding different species together. I'd really love to know your thoughts. These milk snakes had particularly beautiful patterns, but this booth was more significant to me because it was the only one I noticed that had a husbandry care guide for a species of snake that they sold. It was only for a very unique species that they had that needed very specific care, but personally, I think giving out well-researched care guides to customers should be a requirement for selling, and that no one should be leaving the building with a new animal without one. It's one of the reasons I printed and gave them out at my booth last summer, and it's something I'd really like to see change about herpetoculture. Well, I certainly saw a lot of kids in wagons, but this time I didn't notice any with iPads. John and my friend Jake apparently saw many last year while helping at my booth, but I guess I don't get to cross it off my list. To be honest, I kind of forgot to look for it until the very end. I was a little more interested in looking at all of the animals. All right, there's a jumbo hide. I mean, a full-grown retic couldn't use it, but pretty big for reference. There's some cool hides, actually. Very cool. I could add some cool texture and make them look like rock, but that's a good structure to start with. So I didn't see any handmade enclosure accessories like I've been working on, and I definitely didn't see these 4 species. But I did learn later that the label Sonoran is actually thrown around more often than it should be, when in fact the animals are not actually that locality, but just morphed to look like it, and has become kind of synonymous with labels like leopard or salmon, without actually being pure Sonoran. So I'm a little confused on that one still. I guess I can't really cross it off. Regardless, I had an amazing weekend and I really enjoyed having a more intentional experience through this scavenger hunt. It made me take more time to really look at everything, more than I ever have before. Thank you to the folks that chimed in with ideas, and thank you all for coming with me on the adventure. Maybe next time I'll have a booth again, but if not, I'm definitely doing this scavenger hunt thing again. Please take a moment to hit that like button before you go, and if you haven't yet, check out the interviews I did with Steven from Scrub Shepherd, Brooke from Bow Lizard, and Roy from Wellspring Herpetoculture. They're beautiful examples of people who don't just care deeply for their animals, but understand and value mindfulness in their relationships with them. I'm Shira, and we'll see you next time for more snake therapy.